Oh, come on. It was just a silly fling in the Hamptons. You're overreacting.
The apartment was silent except for the hum of an old refrigerator. The silence felt heavier than noise ever had. I sat on a worn couch, staring at the wall, replaying the moment my life cracked open. It started at a party, one of those nights with polished smiles and clinking glasses. I felt so proud of the life I thought I had built, so wrapped up in my own confidence that humility never stood a chance. The conversation drifted, and fueled by wine, I chased after a cheap laugh. I crossed a line I shouldn't have, saying something clever in the moment, but poisonous in hindsight. I didn't even notice the shift in the room, the sudden quiet that followed my words. I was too busy enjoying the sound of my own voice. When the silence finally hit, it cut deeper than any shouting ever could. I looked up and saw the truth standing in the doorway. The look in his eyes wasn't anger. It was something far worse. He didn't argue. He just listened, and that quiet was devastating. When he turned and walked away, the door closing behind him sounded final. I stood frozen, realizing I had just destroyed everything. That night was endless, filled with regret that arrived far too late. I learned that confidence without kindness is just arrogance. The next morning I tried to apologize, but the words sounded hollow. Something permanent had shifted. Days later, the decision came. It was calm, final. No drama, just consequences. I moved out with a single suitcase, leaving a world that no longer belonged to me. The friends who laughed beside me grew distant. Invitations stopped. Calls went unanswered. Then my career collapsed. My reputation, once respected, became a whisper. Mistakes I'd ignored became evidence. An investigation began, and each meeting stripped away another layer of denial. When the suspension came, it felt like losing my identity. I ended up in a small, unfamiliar apartment. The silence there felt earned. Days blurred into regret and self-pity. I couldn't even look in the mirror. Then a crisis hit. A late-night call, heavy with urgency and fear. Suddenly, the past demanded action. For the first time in months, I moved with purpose. I made calls I swore I'd never make, asking for help where pride once stood. In the hospital, waiting, I prayed silently. This time, humility came naturally. When relief finally arrived, it was quiet but real. Gratitude replaced entitlement. Confronting my past became unavoidable. The meeting was tense, but when compassion appeared, it surprised me. It didn't erase the damage, but it acknowledged my humanity. I was offered a second chance. It was modest, grounded, and real. I accepted without hesitation. I started working at a small, crowded clinic. There was no glamour, only purpose. For the first time in years, I felt useful. The work was exhausting but honest. People looked at me with trust, not admiration. That difference mattered more than anything. Gratitude came in simple forms. A smile, a thank you. Each one meant more than applause ever did. I learned that humiliation teaches lessons pride never will. Loss clarifies what success really means. Respect can't survive mockery. Forgiveness, I found, starts with self-awareness and redemption. It requires effort, not excuses. I rebuilt my life slowly, imperfectly, but intentionally. Each day felt earned, not gifted, and that difference changed everything.